corny and seedy, but yes indeedy, give me the simple life.
Hello, welcome to 90 Years Ago This Week, a trip down my musical memory lane. My name is Dave, and I am not 90 years old, but I am a fan of popular music. Popular music from the full history of recorded music. I've been listening to popular music since about 1970, and I enjoy music on both sides of that date. This YouTube channel will be a place for me to draw attention to music that I enjoy from the 1930s, specifically 90 years ago this week. I will not play any complete songs, just snippets, and talk a little about the songs. And also provide a link to the full songs so that hopefully you can enjoy them. By doing this, I both hope to draw attention to good music from the past and share my love of swing music with you. As this music was recorded live, no overdubbing back then, I will be dating these songs by the date that they were recorded. Most of the music I will feature could be considered jazz, but what we need to remember is that jazz was one of the popular forms of music back in the 1930s. This channel will begin with the week of December 4 to 10, 1932. There's nothing terribly significant with that week. It is just that this idea for this channel came to me very recently, and this is where I'm going to start. You might ask, why not do a more round number, like 100 years ago this week? And then we could get into some earlier jazz. Well, I just might do this. But for now, I am going to start with 90 years ago this week. I hope to live long enough to see us through the swing era, which lasted until the end of 1946. And now, going a little off script, I do want to acknowledge that the 1930s were a very racist time, both in Canada and the United States. And I will probably be mentioning white bands and black bands. And that is just because that's how they were considered back in the 1930s. The 1930s were also a very sexist era. Unfortunately, there is not much representation of women in this music. This strikes home to me in particular because my grandmother was a professional musician in the 1930s. And as you can see in this photograph from about 1930, she is the only woman in the band. I will try to draw attention to women musicians as they appear. Also, the 1930s were the decade of the Great Depression, and this was a significant factor influencing the popularity of this music. The 1920s could have been considered the decade of the record where records became popular. In the 1930s, with the Great Depression, the record industry took a real hit, as did all industries. I believe that their sales at the worst point of like 1932 were about 10% of what they had been in 1928. So it was a very difficult decade. Radio, which once you owned a radio, the music coming over it was free, was the main purveyor of music in that decade, and we'll probably touch a little bit on that. Undoubtedly, this channel will reflect my personal tastes and opinions, and I hope that you will enjoy it.